in the city of Philly, where the birds take flight. Eagle swag on the rise each and every night. Tone and Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights. Dashing like a running back, hitting every play. Blind guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. Fly like an eagle soars in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by. Bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Fly like an eagle soars in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by. Bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry.
Yeah. What's good? You guys are tuned in to your Eagles off-season show featuring Coach Markus from Pro Fan Talk and yours truly, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. You guys know the vibes. You guys know the energy. You guys know where our bodies be. We stay in studio. We stay giving you guys this cold-cut, uncut Eagles talk. You know what I mean, Markus? You know what I mean?
Good,
gotta make sure they understand the type of town we on, man. It's always a good day.
Yes, sir. Football season is 4 days away. Football season starts with the draft, bro.
Draft, man.
Football season starts with the draft. That means we are out of the gates. So I'm looking forward to it, man. We done had all of this talk. Still haven't quite come down from the high of the Super Bowl, but that's what the draft does. It smacks you in the face and say, okay, it's time to reset. That was last year. That was officially last year.
Yeah.
And now it's time to move forward. You know, we got the news with Beef Jurgens, got him signed, and Howie Roseman is on that chessboard already, getting it done. So I'm excited, man, because we don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be some people that's probably going to make a couple mistakes during draft day, but it ain't going to be us. So I'm looking forward to it, man.
No, I love where you're going with it because that Cam Jurgens contract is definitely another domino that falls in the direction in favor of the Philadelphia Eagles. Cam Jurgens and the Eagles, they agreed, and make sure I got this correct, make sure I give him his flowers. Pro Bowl center Cam Jurgens agreed to a 4-year contract extension with the Philadelphia Eagles worth $68 million and $39.4 million fully guaranteed per his team and his agent Ryan Tolner at Excel Football.
That's a whole lot of jerky, bro.
Hey, listen, I was saying earlier, the beef jerky company just got a major boost, Can we get a discount on some of the jerky now? What's up? In the beef jerky stock, just got a major kick up. You know what I mean? So shout out to beef jerky, shout out to Cam Jurgens, man, for just being a tremendous player. This contract is interesting for a few reasons. Obviously, Howie Roseman gets the deal done as early as possible, but just breaking down the details of Jurgens' deal, especially as it compares to his peers, Jurgy, with that 4 years and $68 million, he has an average annual salary of $17 million per year. That's tied for the second highest paid center in football. He's tied with Green Bay's Elgin Jenkins. They're both tied at $17 million per season. At the top of the league, you have a brother by the name of Creed Humphreys, who plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, and rightfully so. Creed Humphreys is one of the best, if not one of the best, if not the best center in football right now. Let's just call it what it is. But Cam Jurgens, now he's been officially positioned financially, at the very least. He's been positioned in that category. Now he's getting paid top 5, top 3, top 2 center money.
Right.
So, of course, you expect top 2 center results. And, I mean, Pro Bowl season was healthy all year outside of the little back tweak he suffered in the playoffs. Still thugged it out, played every single game that they had him available for. Only missed one game, and that was the final game of the year like everybody else did. You know, nobody played the Giants game, so that was a layup. Right. But Cam Jurgens getting to the guarantee money now. The $39.4 million total of guarantees is ranked 3rd amongst all centers in the NFL. So Kansas City's Creed Humphrey, he's ranked number 1 with the most guarantees in his contract. Then there's Detroit's Frank Ragnow, who is phenomenal at his job as well. He's ranked 2nd in terms of total guarantees in the NFL at the center position. And when you extrapolate those figures and you elongate them over the course of a 2-year span and a 4-year span, the guaranteed dollars that is, if you divide or break down Cam Jurgens' $39.4 million in guarantees, because that's what the players care about. They care about their guarantees. Everything else is just, window dressing for the agent,
right.
Window dressing to make you look good, right? But it's really about the guaranteed dollars. When you break down his $39.4 million in guarantees and you break that down over the span of 2 years, that's an average annual salary of $19.7 million. So for 2 years, based off of his guarantees, for 2 years, he's going to be the highest paid center in football.
Did it say what his sign-up bonus was?
It didn't.
Okay.
I could probably find that in a second, but $19.7 million over a 2-year span. If you break the total guarantees down over 2 years, if you break the total guarantees down over the course of 4 years, the full length of the contract, that goes to $9.85 million. So as far as guaranteed dollars, as far as cash goes, the Philadelphia Eagles are basically paying Cam Jurgens almost $10 million a season in guaranteed dollars.
Yep. Either way you slice it, he ain't missing no meals.
That part, and the Eagles gave out a deal that really worked for them as well.
Worked for them as well. That's been the MO. That's been Howie's MO, trying to get ahead of the game. When you got good players like that. Now, of course, the other end of that is somebody like Jalen Carter, who is just, he's a freak. He's a generational talent. But Cam Jurgens is not a generational talent. Cam Jurgens is just a very good center. I wouldn't even call him elite yet. He hasn't played long enough to get that moniker. So he's ahead of the game.
Off to a good start. Off to a very good start.
Very good start. And I remember we had conversations, and I remember saying, I have no worries when Kelce steps away, because I remember the little bit that he played when he got in and what I saw his rookie camp. I was like, I'm impressed. If this guy has to step in, all he needs is just a little bit more seasoning with Stout, and he got it now. So we good to go in that regard, man. So it's nice to be in a situation where the Eagles, all they had to do was reload. And the guy that shot the gun is the guy that's reload. When you got Kelce that can call the shots like that, he knows what he's looking for. He knows the type of coach that Stout is and who's going to work well with that style of coach. Styles make fights. So you got to be able to match that player with the personality of your coach. That kind of stuff does not get talked about enough.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Just recapping Jurgens' career, and how we got to this point. Like you said, year one, he really put up some good tape in the preseason, right? And in training camp. But remember, he was drafted in the 2nd round in 2022. That's the Jordan Davis draft. Right. And they have about a week to decide if they're going to pick up his 5th-year option. So that's going to be really interesting to watch. And the draft is going to tell us if they pick it up or not. If you ask me, I think they're waiting until the draft.
Absolutely.
The draft is going to tell us if they pick it up or not. I promise you that.
Absolutely.
And by the way, as an aside, I've officially cemented my top 3 picks for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay.
Like I've committed to who those players will be. I'm not going to reveal them yet. They're probably going to be revealed tomorrow. But
okay,
I got a video that I'm working on that's pretty much going to break down how I got to that point and why it makes sense and why those players make sense.
Gotcha. Okay.
And look, with predictions, I could be wrong. But hey, it's all fun and games, man.
It's been interesting, man, because just from watching the news and the content being created, man, it is my opinion that Shadeur Sanders is going to be the key to this first round. Because if he doesn't, is it going to be Shadeur Sanders or Travis that goes to Cleveland? Most people think it's going to be Travis, but
I think that's the wrong move.
I think it's the wrong move too, but it looks like that's what Cleveland is going to do if everybody is correct. But I see Shadeur going to the Saints. But if he doesn't and he slides down, is that going to make somebody jump up to try to pick that, to get that quarterback? And because it's not that you got 3 quarterbacks that are worth first round grade, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But again, it doesn't matter what I think. It's what they think. And I'm saying all this to say, if a quarterback that was projected in the top 10 drops all the way down to the lower half of the first, possibly the second round, that's going to upset the apple cart. And then everybody's going to be scrambling. And then that's how people slip to you. And that's how we get Nolan Smith. That's how we get Coop. That's how we get Quinyon.
How we got Quinyon. The Quinyon, people forget the reason Quinyon fell to the Eagles didn't have to move in that draft.
Nope.
The reason he fell there, and we're going to get into more this in more detail. I'll cap it off with this so I can finish the Cam Jurgens point. But the reason Quinyon fell is because for the first time in years, it took 15 picks for the first defensive player to come off the board.
Yeah.
Like the first defensive player didn't come off the board until it was like pick 15, 16. It was something crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Let me double check that because I'm looking at it right here, ESPN. Okay, so it says here the first defensive player didn't come off the board until pick 15. I was right, and it was late. Yeah. It was late Tulatu. That was the first defensive player. Then all of a sudden you saw a run on edge, DT, edge, corner. You know, Quinyon was the first corner to take off the board, obviously. But anyway, nonetheless, just capping off the Cam Jurgens topic. Then we can get into the draft talk because that's where the meat and potatoes are. Cam, remember he was drafted in the second round of 2022. Year one, he sat behind Jason Kelce watching him, but he still played all 17 games because he got spot reps. Maybe a guy got hurt mid-game, or maybe Kelce missed a snap or two during the game. He got spot reps all throughout that season, so he didn't really play much. But his career stats say he played in all 17 games, so he got spot reps all across the board.
And real quick, and remember,
when
you talking about offensive lineman, yes, he got spot reps, but that is plenty of opportunity for a defensive line to take advantage of.
Hell yeah!
And
it take one play.
I don't ever remember hearing about his name at all his rookie year, and that's what you want as an offensive lineman, because the only time you hear about offensive lineman is when it's holding or you let a sack. You gave up a sack. So no news is good news when it comes to OL. So
absolutely. And then year two comes, the 2023 season. Jurgens, he's playing beside Kelce now. He moves into that right guard spot because now Isaac Seumalo, he took the deal with the Steelers. So Cam Jurgens gets elevated to that right guard role. Kelce center, Landon Dickerson is left guard. Lane and Mailata are exactly where we know them to be. But he played in 11 games, but he did miss 6 games that year due to an injury. Then year 3, Kelce's gone. Kelce's retired. 2024, Cam Jurgens now has the keys, has the reins to the center position.
Sir, he driving.
He started off a little shaky. That first game with Green Bay, I think he had like 2 bad snaps. And then from that point on, him and Jalen Hurts were in lockstep. And I think we expected a slight growing pain here and there because it's a new center. And they got that out of the way so quick because I think on one of the first drives, the snap went over Jalen's head, whatever it was. It was just a bad snap. But regardless, though, year 3, Cam Jurgens caps it off with the Pro Bowl selection, Super Bowl victory, one of the gutsiest performances we've seen in the playoff game from the offensive line.
Absolutely.
You know, Cam Jurgens, he had an amazing season. So the Philadelphia Eagles, they made this investment knowing that he's coming off the back injury. He did get a procedure over the course of this offseason to alleviate the nerve pain he was dealing with in the back. And he is expected to make a full recovery and be ready for training camp, right? Not just the season. They say he's going to be ready for training camp. So to me, for them to go through the negotiations and commit this amount of money to him, this tells me that Howie, the team, the coaches, like they're all fully in lockstep with where they see Cam Jurgens' health right now.
Absolutely. And you get one thing you got to remember, man, when he stepped in there, that's somebody that you game plan. Very similar to what we did with Caliendo in the Super Bowl. We knew he was a replacement. We knew he wasn't playing well. So you attack that weak spot. Going into the year, Cam Jurgens, first year as a starter, everybody's going to attack that. They're going to attack him. Mm-hmm. What can he do? We're going to put him to the test. And then once again, he had he went through his growing pains like everybody else does. But his consistency was almost unmatched this year. So, we stopped
talking about him entirely.
We stopped talking about him. He can get the job done. He can move. He might not be as quick on his feet as Jason Kelce, but he's damn close. And there is no drop off. There has not been a drop off.
That part.
We lost a Hall of Fame center. And the next year, our running back goes for 2,000 yards and takes us to the Super Bowl.
And we win.
Stop playing with me.
Yeah. Where they do that at.
Exactly.
No, man, you're right. Cam had, and he's put up some phenomenal tape. Like he has some highlight worthy impact blocks. I mean, yeah. He gets downhill. Like he completely dismantled Louisville. He made Louisville look like a boy. And Louisville he had a very solid year. He's coming off a career year. So Louisville was on the heater. And Cam Jurgens did what he did. But congratulations to Cam Jurgens once again. This investment by the Philadelphia Eagles all signifies that they're completely confident in his health. They're completely confident in his trajectory. And again, they've been developing this guy over the course of these past 3 seasons.
Yeah,
cross-training him. He's shown value at center. He's shown value at the guard spot. Athletic, powerful, relatively healthy for the most part. You know what I mean? Like, he's given the Eagles every reason to believe he's the guy going forward. And now you look at this offensive line and you say, damn, Mailata, $22 million. $22 million. Landon Dickerson making, I think, $20 or $21 million, something like that. Lane Johnson making $25 million.
Absolutely.
Cam Jurgens making $17 million a season. Like, it's this entire offensive line, I believe, is locked up through 2028.
And here's the funny thing.
And then the right guard spot, obviously, Tyler Steen has a chance to really cement himself in that spot this year. He has a chance, depending on what the Eagles do in the draft and whatnot. But he has a chance to be a legit guy at guard as well. So this is interesting. This is a really good place for him to be.
In your opinion, who's the leader of that offensive line?
In my opinion?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question, because I feel like some days it's one guy and another day it's the other. But the 2 guys I'm going to name, Jordan Mailata and Landon Dickerson.
Yeah, I was going to say just going to say Dickerson.
Because I've seen Dickerson break down the huddle many times.
Exactly.
Many times.
He has taken on a leadership role.
He has.
And after we saw what he did in the Super Bowl, after what we saw when we had to move him to center, dude, he is the de facto leader of that offensive line. Now, I like Mailata, but to me, Mailata's known to have a bad game every now and then or give up. I just don't think he's that dude. I think Dickerson showed me he's the de facto leader of that offensive line, because LJ is cruising. He's the elder statesman, right? He's the OG on the line. He keeps everybody together, because don't get it twisted. Dickerson still looks up. Everybody still looks up to LJ.
Lane leads by example at this point.
Like LJ Lane don't have to be the leader. He's too old.
Ain't got to say nothing. You're right.
You got to have one of these young bucks come in, and the way Landon Dickerson played last season, man, I was like, that was chef's kiss. To top it off, and the cherry on top was what he did in the Super Bowl. Come on, man.
I mean,
that's the leader of that offensive line.
The reason I give Jordan Mailata a nod, and I'm to your point, I do lean more towards Landon. But the reason I include Jordan Mailata in that conversation is because I feel like, especially since he became a starter, but like when I think he's on like his second or third contract, right? Like I've seen him over the past 2 seasons in particular. I've seen him take real ownership of his position on the team.
Right.
He's vocal. He speaks about accountability. He calls guys out. You know what I mean? Like I've seen Mailata be very vocal in setting a tone.
Now, you're not wrong.
But on game day, we do see Landon break it down, to your point.
Absolutely.
So I would say Landon is the de facto leader, but Jordan Mailata isn't far behind because Jordan is a guy who's taken a lot of ownership since becoming the player he's become. You know, at first he was kind of just trying to be good at the sport now. Now he is at a point where he trusts his technique, he trusts his ability so much. Now he could focus on being the proper teammate and the proper leader. You know what I mean?
What year did we get him?
We got him in 2018.
So we got him in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be his 7th year, right?
Yeah, technically, yeah, because he didn't play at first. He didn't play his first year or two, I think.
So so he came the year after we went to the Super Bowl. So he's
correct. Yes, he's a part. He's a part of the draft class with Josh Sweat, Avonte Maddox, Dallas Goedert, guys like that. I guess my point is draft class.
My point is saying that he didn't start playing football until 2018, and he already been to the Super Bowl twice and got a ring.
I'll put it to you this way: he didn't get his first rep. He didn't get his first live game rep until 2020.
That's crazy, man.
And he was drafted in 2018. They had him buried. I don't want to say buried, but they had him at IMG Academy just working. And they never put him on the practice squad because they knew how valuable that brother was. So he didn't get his first regular season rep until 2020.
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy.
And I think that was when 2020 was the season we drafted Jalen Hurts. That season was wonky for the offensive line because it was injuries all across the board that year. He played in 15 games, started in 10 of them. But 2021, coming into that season, that's when he got the extension.
Yeah.
His first extension. Played in 14 games. Didn't miss a snap. So made a lot of
we reloaded, dude. We reloaded. Yeah. This draft, we don't need draft picks. We need depth. We've already got the playmakers at every position. We are drafting for depth. So I was thinking about that earlier, and I was like, that to me, that makes more sense as to why Howie might trade out of that 32nd pick. We don't need another playmaker.
Yeah, I think it depends on what he's offered for sure. Because I think, to your point, right? And I think this is where the Shadeur Sanders thing comes in. Because I'm starting to hear there's a chance that there may be a team. Be on the lookout for this, right? Be on the lookout for this. If Cleveland selects Travis Hunter in the first round, I don't think they should, but let's say they do. Don't be surprised. Repeat this. If the Giants select Abdul Carter and the Browns select Travis Hunter, one of those two teams are going to want to draft a quarterback with the next pick. Don't be surprised if you see the Giants or you see the Cleveland want to trade back into the first round.
Try to jump back up.
Try to jump back in.
I can see that happening.
And the longer Shadeur sits, the higher the likelihood the Eagles may get that phone call say, hey, we want to get ahead of them at 32 to get either Jackson Dart or Shadeur if he falls that far. I don't think Shadeur falls that far. But
I don't think so either.
But I think if the Browns or the Giants want to get a quarterback, they're going to want to trade back up into that first round if they don't select them on the first pick. They may trade back up in the first round, and the Eagles, to your point, may decide, hey, you want it? How bad you want this pick? Put a bidding war up, and that way the Eagles don't got to move too far back.
Can you imagine if the Browns just screw everybody and pull Abdul Carter? So now you got Myles Garrett and Abdul Carter. And they do what you said and find a way to get back to draft either Shadeur or Dart.
I do not think, and this is not about Abdul Carter, by the way. I think the Browns need to go quarterback. I really do.
I agree, but I don't think they're going to do it.
I really do.
I think they're going to end up going best. Who's their quarterback now? Jameis Winston?
Kenny Pickett.
Joe Flacco?
With the Browns or the Giants? I mean,
the Browns.
The Browns, Kenny Pickett.
Where's Jameis Winston at?
New York Giants. He's backing up Russell. He's
right.
backing up Russell.
That's right. That's okay. So, wow.
And Russell Wilson's on a 1-year deal. I think Jameis Winston is on like a 2-year backup deal. Like, I mean, they can still draft the quarterback and just develop him. Like, they're not committed to Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. Like those are like bridge situations. I think the Giants need to go quarterback. Or actually, I think the Giants need to go Travis Hunter.
The Giants are going to go.
I think that's who they need to draft. Because here's my thing, right?
Cleveland's probably going to take Travis because Travis is the best player. Travis and Abdul Carter are the 2 best players in the draft. So they can have.
It's a mistake.
They can have Myles Garrett and Abdul Carter as bookends.
I think that's a mistake.
They do need a quarterback though. That's the crazy thing because
how can you sell your so you're going to sell your fan base on a we're just going to run it with Kenny. We're just going to run it back with Kenny Pickett and Nick Chubb and on top of that, hey, get ready to watch our defense hold teams to 20 points and we can't score 13. Like,
they need some excitement up in Cleveland, though.
And Abdul Carter, in my opinion, not Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter are exciting players, but that's not the excitement you need. You need Shadeur Sanders level excitement because you need to wipe that. You need to get that Deshaun Watson stink off you.
Yeah,
you got to get that stink off you.
That's true.
You have to. You cannot go into this season without a quarterback, and that man keep having setbacks with his ACL.
I think secretly though, Shadeur don't want to go to Cleveland.
I don't want to go to Cleveland.
Oh my God!
No disrespect to Cleveland, but no disrespect to Cleveland. But I really think the Browns. Telling you, man.
Okay, that's right, Blunt. The Browns. I knew I wasn't crazy. Flacco was playing again.
Or they brought him back?
Yeah, Flacco and Kenny Pickett.
If the Browns run it back with Joe Flacco, I can see them doing that.
How old is Joe Flacco now, man? About 45?
I could totally see them trying to sell the fan base on Joe Flacco because of what he did.
Yeah. But that was what, 2 years ago?
Yeah. That was when he won comeback player of the year, right?
Yeah.
I don't think
Joey Flacco is 40.
Bro.
His birthday was in January. He is 40 years old.
Now, unless
he must be on that Tom Brady program.
Now, unless Cleveland is saying to themselves, we're not ready for a quarterback. We got other things we got to fix. If that's what they're saying, I'm like, I think their defense is still pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
They still got Denzel Ward. Don't they got the other corner, Newsom? I forget his name.
I mean, hell, they almost beat us last year.
Let me see.
They got a decent squad. They just a couple pieces away from being
Newsom. Yeah,
Greg Newsom. Team.
They got Greg Newsom, the second. Denzel Ward at corner. They got Jordan Hicks at linebacker. They got Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah at linebacker as well. Myles Garrett. They got talent on defense. They got talent.
It's going to be interesting, man, because everything you're saying makes sense, but I don't think Cleveland going to do it. I think Cleveland going to end up getting Travis Hunter.
Who's going to throw him the ball? First of all,
that's precisely my question.
Drafting. Okay, two things. Travis Hunter is a receiver and a corner.
Yes.
Who's going to throw him the ball? And you already got two starting caliber corners in Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome. Are you going to let one of those, like, I'm trying to figure out where Travis Hunter really impacts your situation. I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Because I don't know. I done seen so many mocks where Travis is going to Cleveland. It doesn't necessarily mean that's what's going to do, but even like the stuff I'm running now, it looks like that's what's going to happen. Now here, I'm looking at this one from Pro Football Sports.
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland gets Abdul Carter.
I keep saying that too.
And New York takes Travis Hunter. So neither one of the teams get a quarterback.
No, but that's where I think Travis Hunter should go, is New York. Here's why. If I'm New York, I could sell this. Russell Wilson at quarterback. What's the running back for the Giants? Tracy?
Yeah.
Is that his name? He's solid. I could sell this. Russell Wilson at quarterback, Malik Neighbors at wide receiver, Travis Hunter playing opposite him. On top of that, Travis Hunter is a two-way player. He plays on defense as well. The New York Giants, what they need to do is they need to wipe that Saquon Barkley stench off of, because people are still looking at them as an ass-backward franchise for looking how they look on Hard Knocks. They can't afford another PR nightmare. Travis Hunter in New York, that market, two-way player, Malik Neighbors, Russell Wilson. I can sell that.
But here's the problem with New York. The problem, I mean, after they took the black eye from the show,
and their defense is already pretty good. They got a pretty decent defense.
But the problem has always been New York's got a trash offensive line. That's why Saquon could never do anything. That's why Jimmy Cutlets and all them quarterbacks up there, they just, first of all, they weren't good quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, you running behind that same average at best offensive line. That's where they needed the help. If they would have paid Saquon all that money, he'd have still been the same type of running back.
That's true. That's true.
So they got a decision to make. Where do you want to get the quarterback, or do you want to get the best player with Travis Hunter? So it
to your point though, right?
Man.
To your point though, them not re-signing Saquon Barkley isn't really the biggest travesty. The travesty is you signed Daniel Jones ahead of him,
exactly.
and then you ended up letting Daniel Jones walk.
Exactly.
You lost both players. In my opinion, New York, they should have signed Saquon, then they should have drafted a quarterback that year. That would have been the move.
That would have been a move.
They could have ended up with one of those quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix. They could have ended up one of them.
It was but once again, and I've said this before, you got to be careful when you got everybody at the table and they getting paid to be the smartest man in the room, and they're not. They listening to everybody else. We got to pay the quarterback. We got to, somebody up there, even with Daniel Jones' history, somebody was still saying, this is our guy. We got to give him another chance. We got to. And it's like, y'all ain't watching the tape. You're not watching the tape. Or Daniel Jones would have been gone. Look at what the Jets did with Zack. And that's why you always got to go back and look. It's like, Daniel Jones could not have been too sorry, because he had to do something to get picked that high. He must have had some good qualities, but it just didn't manifest when he stepped in the NFL. Same thing with Zach Wilson. Now, Zach Wilson had other issues going on, but still, for whatever reason, it just didn't manifest when he got to the NFL. And that happens more times than somebody will hit on a prospect.
Okay, I just ran this mock draft here. Cam Ward to the Titans. I think that's the only guarantee. Cam Ward to the Titans.
I think that's the only lock.
Yeah, Abdul Carter to the Browns again.
Yep, I got that in both of them. I got
Travis Hunter to the Giants. I got that.
Will Campbell
to the Patriots.
Yep. Mason Graham.
Tyler Warren to the Jags.
Okay.
Jalen Walker to the Raiders. Mason Graham to the Jets.
Hold on, let me see. I can't see this one. I don't like this one because I can't see the other picks. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Yeah, now see these 2 picks. I got Will Campbell to the Patriots at 4.
Right.
Mason Graham at 5. And then what's the name? Tyrone McMillan to the Raiders.
Oh, Ted McMillan. Oh, wow. See, on mine, Ted McMillan falls to the Colts at 14. Here's the interesting thing. Mike Green goes to the Cowboys. I don't think that's a good situation for him.
Nah. On this one, I'm looking at the Cowboys get the edge from Georgia, Jalen Walker. And they let Ashton Jeanty fall to the Dolphins.
Interesting. I got Ashton Jeanty going to the Saints here.
Now, see, I think the Saints is going to end up with Shadeur.
I think Shadeur ends up either with the Saints or with the Steelers.
I kind of hope he goes to the Steelers. But
here's another thing too. Like, I know I've been hearing rumors that Raiders want Ashton Jeanty. I've been seeing that. And, obviously they paid Geno Smith. And I'm looking at that decision like, are they not sold on this quarterback class? Do they just not like this quarterback class? Because they paid him a lot of money.
So here's the thing. I'm thinking that could be smoke and mirrors.
Because I think they should still draft a quarterback, personally.
I think the Raiders are in for Shadeur.
I agree.
They're just not saying it. And people forgetting that Shadeur worked with Tom Brady when he got to Colorado. Prime set that up. He was working. That's why Shadeur came out the gates gunning. He put in work with Tom Brady.
Shadeur in Vegas, Allegiant Stadium.
Man, that place would be packing every damn week.
They need that. See, drafting is not, when you're a bad team, you don't unfortunately you don't have the luxury of just drafting for like football reasons only. Like yeah, you want to draft for smart football decisions, true. But when you're a bad team, you also got to draft for PR reasons. You got to draft you're still selling a product. And you got to be able to convince these fans, a fan base that's not loyal, right? Like the Raiders, they're still trying to cement themselves in Vegas as a legitimate fan base there.
Yes.
You get Shadeur in Vegas. Man.
It can happen.
He's either going to end up at 3 places. I think he ends up either in Vegas, New Orleans, or Pittsburgh. I think it's one of those 3 teams. Who do you think is a dark horse for Shadeur?
The Raiders.
Okay.
Because everybody's talking about either
Saints
Cleveland,
or Pittsburgh,
New York, or the Saints. And then now the Pittsburgh talk only happened about the last 2 weeks.
But that's if they trade up. Right now Pittsburgh is at pick 21. If they did trade up, who would they even be able to trade with to get him? And the thing about the Shadeur thing is his draft stock is so strange right now.
And that's why he can drop. That's exactly why he can drop. Who are they listening to? Pittsburgh is 21.
Mm-hmm.
He could drop that far because it all comes down to who they listening to. Is Jackson Dart better than Shadeur? I don't think so.
Yo, what do you think about this? I didn't think about this. I didn't think about this.
Be more careful. Got to be more careful.
Be more careful. He says, here's one nobody's thinking about. Indianapolis. They really might be out on Richardson, and Shadeur would be good for them.
It's possible. Absolutely possible.
Shadeur Sanders in Indianapolis with Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman at receiver. He has a couple weapons to play with. All right, their defense is solid. On defense, they got my man from Philly, Why am I forgetting his name? Zaire Franklin, coming off, I think, of a Pro Bowl year, All-Pro year. That's interesting.
Now, it's funny on this mock I got right here that I got. It does what you said, Tone. They get Abdul Carter at 2, right? And then they jump back at 30 and get Jackson Dart.
But I'll tell you,
because the Saints in this one, the Saints go ahead and take Shadeur. So in this one, the Browns are doing some wheeling and dealing. But we'll see. And we get Donovan. Iziriaku, both the mock drafts I ran before we started the show had us getting Donovan, the guy from Boston College, as our first pick. Both of them. He was available. He was the best edge on the board, and we took him. He's somebody they brought in for a top 30 visit. Yeah.
He's somebody they brought in. Speaking of the top 30 visits, I think over the course of the weekend, over the past few days, there was an update. The Eagles, they've added offensive lineman Wyatt Millam out of West Virginia. They've added cornerback Justin Wiley out of Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Linebacker Kobe King out of Penn State. And remind you, Kobe King, he's the only traditional linebacker that they've brought in for a top 30 visit right now. He's the only traditional linebacker. He's like a prototypical Mike linebacker. And then interior D lineman Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss. Yo,
this is when it gets exciting, man, because now everybody throwing their dice on the table, man, and you never know what number's gonna fall.
I know. I want to be patient with this because I don't want to just like spoil my video. This
is what I love though. Because
I'm locked in. I'm not changing my mind. I know. I feel like I'm committed to who they're going to pick. I made my prediction.
I like it because all of the experts on television, it just goes to show that everybody's guessing. Nobody know what they're planning in their war rooms before the draft. Nobody knows. Everybody's guessing. All of these, I talked to this person, I talked to somebody from that organization, and what they told me, yeah, they told you that. They're trying to make you confuse everybody else based on what they want to do. That's why they feeding you the information.
Yo, I'm looking at this mock draft that I did. I didn't even look at the Eagles pick. Tell me how they got them selecting with the wide receiver out of Ohio, Emeka Egbuka.
Who? The Eagles?
Mm-hmm. I don't think that's the case for them at all.
Is somebody out there that did a mock draft and the Eagles and at 32 the Eagles picked the quarterback?
What the hell? Nah.
I guarantee you somebody at the computer came up with some old nonsense. Man, it's so man, this is gonna be so discombobulated. But to me, it's all gonna come down to what does Cleveland do? Are they going to go with Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, or are they going to get a quarterback? Because I agree with you. I think Cleveland needs a quarterback, but they got enough faith in Joey Flacco to bring him back and like, okay, you got to power us through one more year.
Sometimes I look at some of these franchises and I ask myself, what are they thinking? What are they thinking?
And like Eagles has landed.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like he said, we could trade up, get Walter Nolan. We damn sure got enough picks to do it.
Every mock draft I've done, Walter Nolan, he's fallen past the 25th overall pick. Every mock draft I've seen, he's always been selected in. He's always been selected in that 27 to 32 range.
Yeah, and this one he's 20, and the other one I did, he was 20 in both. 20 in both.
Interesting. Now I will admit this though. Lately, the mock drafts have been pushing him up the boards. Because originally, when I was doing them, he was hanging around 32. He was hanging around 28, 27, 29. He even fell out of the first round.
When we did our show a couple weeks ago, I ended up with Walter Nolan in one draft. Like, there's no way he's lasting that long. But we didn't we say the same thing about Nolan Smith?
We did say that. We did say that.
Crazy, man. It's gonna be crazy.
Yo, hold on. Where's Shadeur on my? Did he not get picked? Oh no! Don't tell me they banned this. Wow, this mock driver just ran. It just finished. They got Shadeur falling to Seattle.
18?
Yeah. But in my opinion, if he makes it to 18, I think the Steelers feel compelled to trade up and get him.
Yeah.
They're at 21. Because teams have their sweet spot. They have their sweet spot of how far up they're willing to go up. And I think if Shadeur makes it past 15 or 16, I think Steelers may trade up and get him. Now, this one is interesting. They got Ashton Jeanty falling to 15 to the Bears. The Bears traded up to get him.
I don't know about that.
The Bears sent pick 39, pick 41, and pick 72 to the Falcons to get their 15th overall pick. They got them picking Kelvin Banks Jr. at the 10th overall pick, the tackle out of Texas, offensive tackle, and getting a running back, Ashton Jeanty, with Chicago. That'd be interesting. I don't think Ashton Jeanty falls out of the top 10, though, personally.
I agree.
I think Ashton Jeanty is either going to end up with the Raiders or the Panthers.
He's the pick that nobody wants to, nobody wants to miss.
I'm telling you.
His 40 time is not great. His size is not like everybody got something to say other than, did you see the kid play?
Yeah.
Did you see him shedding tackles? All them guys that were faster than him, bigger than him, stronger than him, but yet nobody can stop him. So nobody wants to be that team. So I'm with you. I agree with you. Nobody. He's not gonna get past 10.
He's not
gonna get past 10. I'll be very surprised.
Like, no one's talking about the Panthers even considering him taking him.
Oh God, I hope not.
No one's talking about that.
I want to see that kid succeed. I don't want to.
Every mock draft I've seen Panthers go defense. So
yeah, see, this is nonsense because they got Cam Ward going to the Panthers. He just drafted a quarterback.
Okay, yeah, they all over the place. Shadeur going. Yo, what if? Nah, no, they won't. No, they won't.
Shadeur number 1.
No, Cam's going to the Titans. Cam's going to the Titans. I mean, to the point where, like, Shadeur's not going to Tennessee. They canceled their workout because it's obvious who they're picking.
It's obvious who they're picking, but it's funny that it still came down.
Right. That's insane.
Yeah, we got to talk about AJ's stolen car, bro.
Dog. He got it back. He got it back, by the way.
He got it back.
But that situation was insane because AJ was. My man dropped the video. He was like, "Listen, man, you better hope they find you before I do."
Was he working out when it was stolen, or like what was going on? I saw it looked like he was working out.
Did the car get stolen in Philly, or did it get stolen while he was home? Because he said it happened at 4 a.m. or something.
Okay, I didn't see.
He said it happened like at 3 or 4 a.m. something like that.
I just saw the video where he was like,
"Because if
you give it back, you ain't gonna get charged."
Because here's my thing, right? Most of these players live in Jersey.
Right.
So if it happened in Jersey, lay off my city. If it happened in Jersey,
right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm saying, people saying, "Oh yeah, Philly, man, this happened to CJ. Okay, where was CJ? Was CJ parked in Jersey or was he parked in Philly? Because them Trenton and Camden motherfuckers, they get busy too. They get busy too. You know what I mean? As Blunt said, it was in front of his house. Okay. So Jersey, come on, man. The city ain't got nothing to do with that. My city ain't got nothing to do with it happening in Jersey.
They throwing Philly on the grill.
Yeah, I don't like that. Now, granted, in 2022, my car got stolen right in front of my crib when I was in Philly. So, hey, my car got stolen And look, the security camera, AJ broke it down. He said, the security camera got this dude. He got it. He got out in 120 seconds, 3 minutes. He got the car out of there in 3 minutes. AJ said, listen, on the security camera, you pretty quick on your feet, but don't let me catch you. You find out how quick I am on my feet. You're gonna find out.
Now, which car was stolen?
I don't know, because he drives the Honda Acura sometimes.
But didn't he just buy another car?
He just got something new. He just got something new.
And I think Aston Martin or something goofy like that.
No, I think it was like a.
I thought he got a baller car.
I thought he got a Rolls Royce or something, like some kind of
exactly.
He got some kind of new Rolls Royce. But my thing is, when you steal cars like that, you're not gonna get far. You're not gonna get far. That car sticks out like a sore thumb.
3:42 in the morning, bro.
That car sticks out like a sore thumb.
He said, "We know where you are right now. Pull back up." Vehicle was found in Camden, New Jersey, and the car thief was taken into custody.
Hey, where they found it at?
In Camden.
Camden.
Tone, like, get off my city, man.
Camden, New Jersey. Dusty ass jerk. Something.
You right, though.
Bro, because they really be going crazy on my city, man. It's ridiculous.
Man, listen.
But they stole my car. They stole my car in Philly, so I can't really say too much.
Let me tell you a story about Philly, man.
Right in front of my crib, Marcus. Right in front of the crib.
Damn. What year were you born?
I was born in 94.
So you wasn't born yet. Because this was 92. This was 92. 92 or 93. Because I was running track, getting ready for the combine. And we came and ran in pin relays.
You was getting ready for the combine before I was born? It's crazy work.
Bro, I graduated college in 93, bro. I graduated college before Windows 95 existed. Stop playing with me. I'm DOS, bro.
Triple OG.
So we run the pin relay. So I start running track.
Yeah. My
senior year, because I'm trying to get ready for the combine and everything like that. Track taught me how to run, right? So we go to running the pin relays. I had the opportunity to run the pin relays, right? So my first time in Philadelphia, I'm in culture shock, bro. Now, one of my frat brothers, one of my Sands, he's from DC. So he's familiar. He been to Philly, the whole DMV. He from this area. So we and my other boy, another guy on the team, most of the guys on the track team was either from DC or Baltimore.
Mm.
So they familiar with this area. So I'm new. I'm just hanging out, and we get up in the morning. And he was like, "Yo, come on, man. We're gonna go get something to eat. We're gonna run by the Wawa. We're gonna hit that John up." And I'm like, wait. What'd you say? He was like, "Yeah, we're gonna go get something to eat at the Wawa." I was like, "What the hell is a Wawa, bro?" Like, you gotta explain this to me.
Yeah, I went to Wawa when I went back to the city for a little bit. I got me a hoagie, bro.
I didn't know what the hell he was saying until we actually got to the Wawa. And I was like, "Oh, that's what you were saying." I thought it was some slang. And then that night, after the first night of the events, Center City is packed. Broad Street is packed because it's everybody everywhere. We go into the parties. We went to an Alpha party. Like, I'm living the life, right? But we take a cab down Broad Street, right? And I'm seeing all the cars parked in the middle of the road. I'm like, what the hell is going on here, man? I don't know. Like, why are they parked in the middle? Can y'all explain this to me? So I'm saying all that to say, man, my first trip into Philly, not knowing what to expect, culture shock from somebody that grew up in Cincinnati and went to school in Kentucky.
Yeah,
bro, it was different.
Philly will do that.
It was different.
Philly will do that.
After that trip, I was like, yeah, I can see playing here. And then I got that call. Never forget that. And my first weekend up here, I'll never forget this. The first weekend up here, the story in the news, all over the news. You was probably too young obviously you were too young to remember this, but shit, you wasn't born yet. the biggest story in the city was they found a white van on the side of the highway with like 120 bullet holes in it.
Whoa.
That was the lead news story in Philly that weekend.
Welcome to the jungle. Welcome to the As Bun said, I was on that Wawa when I went to Del State. I never heard of it in VA. With the Del State, and we had the party, then got hot sauce from Wawa. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Wawa, yes, sir. Blunt, when was you at Del State? Del State was my coming out party, man. Del State.
A bunch of my family graduated from Del State. A bunch of my family graduated from Del State.
1989. Eastern Kentucky came up, played Del State. Tim Lester tore his knee, and I came in the tailback and never left the field.
Yo, Michael DeJean says, would you guys trade Tanner McKee to the Saints for a second-round pick? Why do people think Tanner McKee is worth a second-round pick?
I mean, if they offer it.
I mean, yeah, if they offer it, that's the thing. Like, wow, like I like Tanner McKee.
I've been hearing that because the logic is Kellen Moore wants to bring in somebody that knows the offense right off the bat. So I understand that logic. But I don't think it'll happen. For a second round pick? Exactly. I agree 100%. I don't think his price is that high.
It's not. You know what I mean? And again, it's not the thought of trading him, it's the value. Because I like Tanner McKee, but I mean, Tanner McKee, like we gotta be measured in how we evaluate Tanner McKee. He did his job well when it was called upon him, but you know,
it's all fun and games to the game plan.
Yeah, that part, and when you ain't got as many weapons as you used to have in Philly, it's a little different.
Facts.
A little different, and also on top of that, extending that play that he's had, extending that over the course of a season.
It's all fun and games to the game plan.
Right.
What you think?
He had good drives, he had good moments, good performances, but sample size is too small, man. Way too small. Like a 17-game season, you can get exposed pretty quickly.
Watch what happened with Jaden Daniels next year. They said the same thing. Jaden Daniels is in the same situation like CJ Stroud.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that easy. It's not that easy. And I tell you what, man.
He made it look easy, but watch, he come back to earth.
He got to come back to earth.
It happens.
It's a whole different ball game when the team got a whole year to game plan around you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened. Not to mention, you still got injuries and other things that happen.
And rosters changed. They had a ton of free agents this year. Granted, they had a lot of money, but my thing is, a lot of money doesn't mean having a lot of money doesn't automatically mean that you know what to do with it. Man. Doesn't automatically mean the investments you make are going to pan out.
Just think about all the teams where that has happened in the past. We got this person, we got that person. What was Washington saying when they got Chase Young?
They swore he was going to be the second coming.
Everybody always thinks a player is going to make the difference. In our situation, we did the same thing, except it just turned out to be true. Saquon's going to make a difference. Used up running back. He's going to make a difference behind that offensive line. Come to find out, it was true. But how many times does that not happen?
Oh, you're right. You're right. I think they're going to be in for a rude awakening because, again, like eventually, you know, they catch up to you. They catch up. They get used to your tells, your tendencies.
Absolutely.
You know, CJ Stroud got very much humbled in year 2. Very much. And this is not to say CJ Stroud is a bad player. This is not to say Jaden Daniels is a bad player. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be a very good quarterback in this league. But I'm not going to crown a guy after one season.
No, and let's not forget, they lucked into 3 victories. If you really want to break it down to one play, if they don't get that Hail Mary, they're not in the playoffs.
It's And look, I don't want to take away from the fact that they showed up against Detroit. They did their job.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely,
they did their job. Absolutely. But I think the truest form of Washington is what we saw in the NFC Championship game. That's who they really are. I believe that's who they really were. Every time we played them, we forced a minimum of 2 turnovers. Every time we played them. The last 2 times, and we forced 10 turnovers total in the amount of times we played them this season. 10 turnovers.
Yeah, 10. Yep. And if it wasn't for a drop pass, you know what I mean? It's next year is gonna be next year.
And look, don't get me wrong. They had an exciting season, by their standard. They had an exciting season, but
the boy is nice.
But roster, you got a new GM, you got a new quarterback. I know you guys are excited about that, Listen, Cliff Kingsbury gonna show his ass too. Just wait on it. Just wait on
Absolutely.
it. Just wait on it. Cliff Kingsbury gets figured out. He's prone for that's been his MO in his career. He gets figured out.
Yep.
And when they figure it out, it's no coming back. Now, granted, Jaden Daniels, he's talented enough, to overcome that a little bit, but
we'll see.
We'll see. Hey, listen, I'm pulling for the brother.
Hey, hit these super chats. I think we got 3 super chats in there.
Oh yeah, we sure do. 3. Carlos Rosado with the $5 super chat. This one for you. This one for you, Coach.
Just a few days away, and we found out what Howie has up his sleeve.
Just a few days away, and we find out what Howie has up his sleeve. I've seen so many content creators in their mock drafts; they're all different. I've done a grand total of 5 mock drafts on my own. We did one together, but I've made it a point. I made it a point to make sure all my mock drafts are uniquely different, and I've tried to have a different mentality when I do each mock draft. The main reason I want them to be different is because, again, I want to create scenarios. I want to put the Eagles in and I wanted to try to put the Eagles in as many situations as possible to try to foresee what would be at their disposal or what would be available to them.
Possible scenarios. And also the other thing with that is, a lot of times we just doing it for fun just to kind of see what the algorithm is talking about. But it really, I've done most of mine just for, let me do one real quick just to see what I get. But I'm not doing trades, and trades is the most important thing because anything can happen. If you getting, I don't know if you was on the show that one day where I got the first trade I get Micah Parsons for 2 draft picks from Dallas.
Oh yeah, you sent me that.
That's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen either. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
To your point, I mean, they're all over the place and they're a lot of fun. But at the end of the day, you don't know the guy that's going to pull the trigger. You got to understand what that team is thinking. So.
There's a very human element to this.
Facts.
And honestly, the trade offers that the algorithm provides, and also the trades that these teams accept due to the algorithm, most times aren't realistic.
No.
Like there's certain times where I'm like, okay, they would have took this deal if this was real life, but they make it like in these systems, you gotta almost you quite frankly have to overspend to get the draft pick you want. They make it very difficult. Like I forgot what I did. I think I offered just a simple pick swap. Hey, you move forward, I move back. They said no. I'm like, what the fuck?
Right.
We're swapping the pick. That's all. I don't want nothing more from you. That's a swap.
Right.
Nope, denied. I was like, okay. Anyway, S. Blunt with the super chat. He says, which veteran do you think Howie could trade for? Who's available right now? That's a question.
And also, what position?
Right. Now,
that's the key.
Let's start with the position.
What position are we looking at?
Let's start with the position. If there is a position that he would trade for to get a veteran at, what would it be?
I would think tight end. But if you're going to trade for it, just keep Dallas. Shit.
That part. Trade for him and
maybe safety.
But for all that, just sign Justin Simmons.
Right. So there's really it all depends on what the team wants to do, unless you see somebody out there that you're gonna go gaga about. Now you know Howie's good for. We were high on this player 2 years ago, and we couldn't get him. Now we got an opportunity to bring him back. He's done that before, so who knows? I don't. If the situation with Dallas Goedert is gonna fall through, I think that might be a draft day deal or to something to that effect. But if we go on, if Howie can finesse the system and basically Dallas, are you gonna give a hometown discount or are you gonna try to get your bag? Do you want to win or do you want to get paid?
But here's the thing, though. With all due respect to Dallas, and I came out with a video recently about this. Like he's 30 years old,
and injury prone.
We
talked about that.
Yeah, he played in 12 games in 2022, 14 in 2023, 10 games in 2024. I mean,
he's missed what? I think you said 7 games the last 3 years.
The last 3 years, he's missed a whopping total.
I meant like per year.
Oh,
like 6 games per year or something like that.
So through his 7-year career, 4 out of those 7 seasons, he's missed at least 3 games or more. And over the last 3 seasons, 2022, 2023, and 2024, he's missed a grand total of 15 games, which is essentially a season.
Right.
So,
damn, you're right. I ain't think about it like that, but damn.
When you start doing the math like that, you say, damn, we didn't have Goedert for a whole season, basically.
Yeah.
Basically. And then let's take it a step further. And this is why I think Goedert doesn't have the leverage that many people probably think he does. Bro, let me remind you, Goedert's missed 15 games over the past 3 seasons. I'm talking Super Bowl run to Super Bowl run. He's played in the playoffs. That's one thing I'll give him. He's been available in the playoffs. And he's been very reliable in the playoffs. I want to make that very, very, very clear. In the playoffs, and specifically in the Super Bowl runs in 2022 and 2024, those specific seasons, Dallas Goedert has accounted for 33 receptions on 38 targets. But that's an 87% catch rate. That's extremely high over the course of 7 games combined. 2022 and 2024, the Super Bowl runs. He's also accounted for 356 receiving yards, averaging almost 11 yards per reception, with 16 first down receptions and 2 touchdowns. In the playoffs, when you're tight end position, that's phenomenal. Now, this is where things get tricky for him. And this is where I believe the Philadelphia Eagles are doing the math to themselves, saying,
right,
we could live without this player.
We can do better.
Since 2022, he's missed 15 games, right? That's damn near a season. Over that stretch, take a wild guess. Over that stretch, I'll tell you, but over that stretch, 15 games, what's the Eagles' record in those 15 games?
I'm gonna say 13-2.
The Eagles went 13-2 over the 15-game span. Dallas Goedert, over the 15 games that Dallas Goedert has missed. Those 15 games, the Eagles went 13-2.
Because we didn't lose no games because we didn't throw it to the tight end.
They went 5-0 in 2022, 2-1 in 2023, and 6-1 in 2024. Those are the games without Dallas Goedert. But I'm supposed to be convinced, and I like Goedert. I want him here, by the way. I like him. I think there's a way to keep this player. But the reality is, if I'm the Eagles, and I'm thinking about it from cost, benefit, investment, did I really get my return on, what we invested in the player, or just value? I can get cheaper at the position, and I'm not really throwing the ball there like that anyway.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I understand. Yeah. I understand the Eagles' logic for even considering trading him. When he hasn't been there, you went 13-2. How valuable is he? That's their logic, not mine.
And we're biased.
And I like Dallas Goedert, by the way.
Of course we want him. We're biased because he was here. He made plays. He made explosive plays.
He's a dominant player when healthy.
Correct. So we are going to be biased, and I want to keep him just like you. But he's in a situation where he can get his bag. But I'm very curious now because it is a very real thing these days, especially when you're talking about Philadelphia. Culture over the bag is a real thing now. Because these guys are finally figuring out they got the money, but they ain't got no hardware. They ain't got no rings. So which one are you going to go for? Look at what Miles Sanders did. And you knew I liked Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
But he went to Carolina and did absolutely nothing. But at least he got paid. At least he got his bag or whatever he got. Because that was back when the running back market was in the tank.
Here's my thing about S. Blunt's point here, because he's trying to make the comparison of and he's playing devil's advocate, but he says we didn't lose any games with Fred Johnson, but we damn sure don't want him in there over Mailata. We damn sure don't want Grant C over him. This isn't really about Grant C, but I see the point you're trying to make here, right? Here's my retort. Here's my retort to that. We're talking, to your point, Fred Johnson, he had 6 starts in the 2024 season. 6 starts. I'm talking over the course of 3 seasons. I'm talking 15 games, a singular position.
Yeah.
As a unit, you can hide Fred. I don't want to say hide, but as an offensive line unit, you can finagle that. You can scheme around that a little bit. But as far as, and then we're talking about money invested, right? It's not much money invested in Fred Johnson. Where's Dallas Goedert? A lot of money tied up there right now.
Correct.
You can get cheaper there, but I don't think this point. And again, I know he's playing devil's advocate, but I think it's apples to oranges, if you ask me. I think it's apples to oranges. Because I'm not saying I want Grant Calcaterra over him, but what I am saying is if I'm the Philadelphia Eagles and I have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, and I'm 15-2 over or 13-2 over the span where I haven't had Dallas Goedert, and this has been a perennial thing with him. At some point, I start to ask myself, do I really need this player?
Correct.
At some point, you ask yourself that.
We can plug somebody in. But
I would understand this point a little bit more if Fred Johnson was regularly having to start from a lot of, like, if it was like 4 games this year,
right,
5 games that year, like 6 games. God, this has been a trend. This isn't an accident. And over 3 seasons, your roster you've gone through some turnover there. You know what I mean? So, again, I'm a Dallas Goedert guy. I don't want people to get me misconstrued. I made it very clear. I want him here. I think the Eagles are considering moving on from him about a year or 2 soon.
I agree.
Just about a year or 2 soon, because I prefer a more seamless transition, like we talked about with Cam, Jurgens, and Kelsey. That transition was seamless. I would like to have the guy in the building that we want to succeed him with before I move on from Dallas Goedert. It's very similar to the Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert situation. When Zach Ertz got 30, you know what the Eagles did? They traded him before he turned 31.
Got him
before he turned 31. They traded in the midseason. They traded in the midseason before the deadline. And Dallas Goedert got the keys. Going forward.
I say we pick up a tight end on that with our 3rd pick. With our 3rd pick, one of those tight ends should still be available.
I got a sneaky suspicion they may not draft the tight end as high as we wanted them to.
Yes, I agree. I ended up in this one.
Go ahead.
I rated to the 3rd pick, and I ended up at 96. I got Gunnar Helm from Texas. And on the other one, I got Gunnar Helm. So he's available on both of them. So I mean,
keep an eye on Lachey.
You're gonna learn today. Yeah, absolutely.
Keep an eye on Lachey.
Absolutely. You got one more super in there from AJ.
Oh, we do. My bad. AJ Jones with the super chat. Thank you, my man. I appreciate it. He says, off-season question. Who ruined or did more damage to the franchise during their tenure? Chip Kelly or Daryl Morey? Ooh.
Chip Kelly.
That's
I'm not gonna blame.
I would have to.
I'm not gonna blame Joel's knees on Daryl Morey.
Yeah. This is interesting because
he did get rid of Butler.
Daryl Morey didn't get rid of Butler. Daryl Morey came after Butler, I think, right?
I
thought
Brand.
Sure. I thought Brand got rid of Butler.
Honestly, I'm not even sure, man. I'm not that tight with basketball.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at if Chip Kelly would have got rid of Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, then I would say because you broke up the good young nucleus of the team. But like I said, I'm not gonna blame Daryl Morey for Joel Embiid having bad knees.
But here's the thing that Chip Kelly that makes it interesting, or makes it not as easy to say that. Obviously, Chip Kelly, he traded LaShawn McCoy, Deshaun Jackson. You know, we lost Macklin. Like it was a lot of things that we lost, right? You know, that whole Dream Team era was weird. You know, but Chip Kelly left us with some parting gifts.
Facts.
Parting gifts that were instrumental in that Super Bowl in 2017, 2018. You know, I mean, we weren't far removed from the Chip Kelly era. There were still some leftovers. He hired Jeff Stoutland. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he drafted Lane Johnson too. Am I tripping when I say that?
No, I think you're correct. But I think it's just, again, it's the biased perspective of we had
Lane was drafted in 2013, yeah.
We had the most exciting wide receiver in football in Deshaun Jackson. And we had the most exciting running back in football with Shady McCoy.
Yeah.
And you kicked them out.
Yeah, that's true.
You kicked them out. They didn't want to be here, and you didn't want them here.
Yeah.
So, water under the bridge.
Yeah. Daryl Morey, I don't like what he's done because I feel like he's created an environment where there's a lack of player accountability. But one can argue it's been there. He just walked in with it.
Yeah. As somebody that watches basketball but doesn't study basketball, right? I got tired of watching Joel Embiid, a 7-foot guy, trying to cross people over from the perimeter and launch threes. When you 7 foot, I'm old school, bro. Get your ass on the blocks and dunk with 2 hands. That's what I want you to do. Get to the free throw line. You can shoot you can shoot. You a 7-footer that can shoot and still play strong, and that's infuriating to me.
Let me see something real quick.
Yeah, the Sixers are in shambles. Thank Bird Game. The Sixers and the Flyers need to get together and go bowling because they both in bad shape right now.
Okay, here we go. Somebody said something interesting that I wanted to confirm. Where is it? Where's my guy? He was just right here. Stizzy. He says Howie Roseman drafted Lane. That was Chip's first year, no authority at the time. To your point, because I wanted to make sure I confirmed that. An article written in 2016, it says Lane Johnson's agent credits Howie Roseman, not Chip Kelly, for drafting Lane Johnson. So it says Lane Johnson's agent said his client was Roseman's pick, not Kelly's. Sarnoff is not only impressed with the way Roseman handles business, but disheartened to hear that he was never received enough credit. He mentioned the drafting of Lane Johnson as a prime example. I'll go on record and say people call Lane Johnson the Chip Kelly pick. Howie was the GM at the time. I've never understood why he didn't get credit for that. It was always Chip. Roseman was the one who was the general manager, and I always thought he should have gotten credit for Lane being drafted number 4 overall. I look back at that draft, and there was an Oregon kid, Deion Jordan, that could have been jumped, and they could have gotten, for whatever it is, Howie made the pick in Lane Johnson. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Good pull, Stizzy. Good pull.
Facts.
Good pull, Stizzy. Let's see. Where are we? But yeah, man. This upcoming draft is going to be interesting. You know, this is going to be question, because I know we talked about this. I just want to confirm. Thursday for the draft. You want to run it back?
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it. I was going to touch base with you after the show, but since you brought it up, yeah, let's collab and get a live draft, live watch.
Yeah, last year it did very well. We had a lot of fun with that. That was cool.
Yeah.
That was very fun. So, yeah, you guys, the coach and I, Pro Fan Talking Chalk It Up Sports, another collaboration as we always do. We're going to be doing a Thursday night draft show.
What time is it? What time do they start? 7?
That's a good question. I think the draft starts 8 p.m. Eastern.
8 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You want to start at 7?
Round 2 starts at 7. So, let's start at 7:30, because you know these things.
Yeah,
it's
gonna be a lot of fluff.
Be a lot of fluff. So we could vibe at 7:30, set the tone a little bit, maybe do one final quick first round mock draft, or even a 2-round, just to simulate the idea if the Eagles trade out of it. 2-round mock draft before the actual draft starts, and buckle up, because it's gonna be a movie, man. I love the draft. I absolutely love the draft. I get so giddy about it.
Did you go down when the draft was in Philly?
Where was I?
Were you still in Philly?
What year was that? I'm trying to remember.
I don't know.
What year was that? I can't remember. Let me double check.
Somebody in the chat, you know. Because me and my buddy went down there. We had some fun, man.
That was 2017. That was the year we won the Super Bowl, 2017,
Super
2018.
Bowl year. Yep.
In 2017, the draft happened in April. I was finishing up my senior year in college. So I wasn't in Philly at the time. I literally graduated like 2 weeks later.
My boy had to went down with my buddy. He went down there with me. We went to the what's the hotel down there on the big roundabout?
Are you talking about
what's the name of that hotel? Real nice hotel right down there.
Again?
It's what's the big roundabout down there by the museum?
Oh,
I forget what it's called, but
the art museum. Like I know what you're talking about. It's that's the Parkway.
Yeah,
that's the Parkway.
Whatever that hotel was. So the NFL had an event.
Mm-hmm.
So I had an invitation for the event. So I brought one of my buddies with me. And we went down there, and I ran into KO Spikes, and
I love KO Spikes when he's in Philly.
All of that. I'm saying all that to say I had such a good time down there. Ran into Ike down there. Takeo was in the event, and then I ran into Aeneas Williams was down there. A couple Hall of Famers. The OG, I think Harold was down there.
Is it the Four Seasons or the Ritz?
I think it may have been the Ritz. It may have been the Ritz, but whatever it was,
or maybe the Logan Hotel could be that as well.
Yeah, it's down, because when we went up to the top floor where our thing was, you could see the art museum. But it was whatever the roundabout is, and then you get to that long straightaway where the art museum is. But I know it's called something because they got the big fountain in the middle.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Now that I think about it, it might be the Four Seasons.
Okay.
Yeah, it really might be the fourth season.
We had a good time down there, man. We had a good time down there.
Yeah, because I'm seeing here. Yeah, because you got, like you said, you got the roundabout, the oval. They call it the oval.
Yeah,
but you know, Pennsylvania Ave is right here. The Maj Hotel's right here. Yeah. Nonetheless, though, you guys, we are doing a draft show Thursday, starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to do a final 2-round mock draft. The reason I say 2-round.
Your pop said it's the fourth season.
Okay, yeah, he had texted me too. We're doing a 2-rounder because it'll show us if the Eagles trade out of it or not, and we'll see what they do with it. But
you're right. Nice.
So it's going to be exciting, man. Hey, Eagles fans, before we go, who do y'all think the Eagles going to pick?
Put it in the chat.
Put it in the chat. Who do y'all think the Eagles are going to pick in the first round? Because I'm going to tell you guys officially tomorrow, but I want to know who you guys think. Because I had a couple predictions, but I was up until like 3 in the morning writing some notes, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to stick with this.
I think I will say officially that I think Howie trades out.
Luther Winfield says Starks or Nolan. As Blunt says trade up Walter Nolan. Aldridge says Starks. AJ Jones says BPA unless Howie trades Dallas or Huff. Stacey says Nolan or Izaraku. David Turney says Starks. KGK says Nick Minwari. Carlos Rosado says a lineman. Are we talking offensive lineman? Are we talking defensive lineman? Humble Servant says Starks. I'm seeing a lot of Starks and a lot of Walter Nolan.
Yeah.
So either Starks or Nolan. Now here's the thing, right?
They're gonna have to trade up to get them, though.
They're gonna especially Starks. I think if they do, I think for Nolan, if they do have to trade up, it won't be much.
Yeah. I don't. I'm officially on record saying that I think Howie Roseman will trade out of the 32nd pick.
I don't put it past him.
I think he will get, if we 32, I think he'll get, it'll be some type of swap pick for somebody that'll keep him in the 30s and something in round 4 or 5 or something like that.
If he trades out, that won't be exciting.
It won't, but again, we do not need playmakers. We need depth.
No, so right.
I could see him if Walter Nolan or somebody, one of the best defensive tackles in the draft or one of the best edges in the draft, somehow fall or something happens, a la Nolan Smith. If something like that happens, then he will make the pick accordingly. But if everything falls the way it's supposed to fall, quote unquote, I think he trades out, gets a couple more picks, and we still get the guys that we need to fill. Maybe we'll get a second-round safety that can come in and challenge to be a starter. But ultimately, the Eagles are set up to run it back, and we are filling the gaps and reloading. We are not rebuilding. So we are in good shape. We only have 2 positions that we need somebody to come in and play right now. That's possibly a safety, possibly another linebacker, possibly a tight end.
Let me ask you a question. Final question, that we can start close the thing out. Who makes the, maybe biggest isn't the word, but who makes the shocking splash on draft night in terms of being traded up? Like, who do you think people are going to be like, whoa, they traded up?
Player or team? The team?
Yeah, the team, and what player they go get?
Who's going to upset the apple cart?
Yeah, basically, who's going to throw the monkey wrench in the situation?
I hate to even say this, but I got a feeling that Dallas might try to do something stupid. Because they've been taking a lot of heat for their non-activity in the past 3-4 years. So it wouldn't surprise me if Dallas tries to move up. But I mean,
they're going to take a wide receiver. They're going to take Ted McMillan.
But everybody in Dallas wants them to get Jeanty.
Really?
They need a running back.
Jeanty's not falling to 12. They gonna have to trade to get him.
Exactly. Dallas can do something stupid. But I mean, everything's on the table, man. Everything's on the table.
That's interesting. That is interesting. Nonetheless, make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to both channels. Make sure you guys are subscribed to Pro Fan Talk. Subscribe to Chalk It Up Sports. The content will always be in full effect. We appreciate you guys so much for locking in what you guys do. Means a lot, goes a long way. Coach Markus and I will be back on Thursday.
Yes, sir.
7:30 p.m. Eastern time to get you guys squared away for the NFL draft, the 2025 NFL draft. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a movie. Can't wait. Can't wait, man. Any final words before we go?
Man, I'm excited. Football season is back. The season for me starts when the draft. If you did not get a chance to check out my show last week with Ian Cummings, he is a draft expert for Pro Football Sports Network. This same website.
He does great work.
He is the guy that puts the data. He is the database for the draft. So when you click on a name and you get all of the notes and stuff like that, he is the guy that puts it together. Check out our conversation last week. This guy knows a lot about a lot.
Yeah. He's like
scary how much stuff.
Scary how much he retains.
He's one of those dudes where you pick a random player and he'll know he can go.
He taps into like a Rolodex.
Dude.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Exactly.
It's wild. And this is what he does all year. Like he focused strictly on just prospects. So shout out to Ian Cummings. I definitely got to get him on the show at some point. He does great work. So yeah. All right, you guys, that's our show. We appreciate the love. Smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to Pro Fan Talk. Subscribe to Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or we lose, we just got to charge to the game. This has been your Eagles off-season show. We'll see you guys Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time for our draft show. You guys know what it is. It's Coach Markus and it's Tone DeShields II, and we out of here.
Go Birds.
In the city of Philly, where the birds take flight, Eagle swag on the rise each and every night. Tone and Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights. Dashing like a running back, hitting every play. 9 guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. Fly like an eagle soars in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by. Bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Fly like an eagle soars in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by.